Hey everybody, this is Kelly Quinlan coming to you live for Slam Festival Slam Summit. The date today is July 17th, 2017. Today's, this presentation right now, you're tuning in for a discussion on fundraising. Building surf waves in rivers costs money. So talking primarily from the experience I have had with the Alberta River Surfing Association here in the Kananaskis River, and now looking at the Bow River for the 10th Street Wave in Calgary, and talking from my experience with Surf Anywhere for not only just the fundraising that we've done here in Calgary, but as well as helping other other river surfing associations come up with some money. So yeah, we've got, if you do want to follow along, we do have a PowerPoint slide presentation that's going on right now. If you're tuning in from YouTube or from Facebook, it's found in the comment section below. It's a Google shortened link, so it kind of looks like a Google / whatever. And if you want to download the presentation, that thing will look like, where is it? Here. If you are tuning in on YouTube live, if you're checking this out on live right now, I do have a chat window open that shows me if anybody's in the chat window. Just typing hi there so that you guys make sure your chat window is open, and you can send me a message while I'm going through this PowerPoint. So the first thing I'll say is, yeah, fundraising is an effort. It does require a lot, but what the incredible thing with river surfing is the ability to build river waves. This is something completely new. I can only imagine if how different it would look for skateboarding if this whole idea of building a skateboard park never came to fruition. If for whatever reason, if skateboarders wanted to, you know, restrict it and say, no, let's not bring anyone new into the sport, and let's not build any skate parks or have any development in that area. It's too dangerous. If anything would have gotten in the way with that, how different skateboarding would be. You know, it might still be just underground handful of people seeking out empty pools to skate. Maybe, who knows? It's pretty incredible though, and it does cost money. There is a lot of environmental approvals and a rigorous process to go through. When starting out, it's good to know that river surfing waves, when you're looking at building a wave, a project, some of the projects that I know of have taken as long as 15 years. The wave that we helped design in Bend, Oregon, that was something like a 14-year project. Tumalo Creek, the kayak shop there, started 15 years ago trying to get this thing built. So it can take a long time. Realistically, if you are looking at doing a wave project and starting this year, that can come together within a 5-year period. But the shortest we would ever see is 2 or 3 years would be an extremely fast river wave project. So that's something to give you some context. I know if you're out there, you're probably stoked to have a river surfing wave in your community, being landlocked and not being able to make it to the ocean as much as you want. I'm sure you want to surf every day, like some of the other river surf communities that have been able to pull it off at this point. Just, keep that stoke alive, but know that these projects do take time and they do take money. Where you want to get started with fundraising is almost right off the hop. Right away, you want to take a look at registering yourself in a river surfing association or some kind of nonprofit or society or group where you can collect funds. This is a big step. It's pretty involved, and it does tend to change from community to community. For us personally in Canada, and especially in Alberta, I can speak from the experience of the Alberta River Surfing Association. We we started the Alberta River Surfing Association in 2005, but it was just more or less a surf club. We called it the Alberta River Surfing Association after the World River Surfing Association, and there were some other communities at that time that were forming river surfing associations, so it worked really well. But we didn't actually officially register that until we needed to raise money for a wave build. And I'll tell you now from experience, it's great to handle that sooner rather than later. There's a lot of opportunities that get open to you if you can register. There are some, it does take a little bit of extra work. For us, we're registered as a society in Canada, and a clubs and society under the Societies Act in Canada. We're recognized as a club or an association, but we are able to raise funds. At this point, we've looked into charitable status and being a nonprofit. So there was a couple of years there where we were registered as a charitable organization. But there's more restrictions with that. So make sure you're well read. Part of that is putting together a proper team. If you're going at it alone, it'd be really great to just trying to build a small team. About a really good base for a river surfing association takes about 4 or 5 people just to get yourself started. So I would look into that, and we can provide more information on that so that you can if you're more interested in how a river surfing association is formed, hit me up personally. But let's keep the talk to fundraising today. One thing that you can do to start forming that team or getting people out and seeing if people are interested is just start a social night. Just try to book something in a pub or a restaurant, and just try and locate all the kind of landlocked surfers that are in your area that might be interested in river surfing. That way, when you do start to do any fundraising efforts or anything like that, for one, you're not alone, and 2, you can kind of guess how many people are going to come out to something like an event. Our major fundraising started after we already had surfable features in the Kananaskis River. So we were lucky enough to form a group of surfers before we ever needed to host an event or do any kind of major fundraising. So please keep that in mind as I'm going through these slides. Those are examples of things that have worked, were proven to work here in Alberta. But again, this is where we had started with 10 to 15 core surfers who were surfing small kayak type features in the Kananaskis River. So what do we got here first? So this idea behind core member pledges, or as I called it, is in 2012, the Alberta River Surfing Association was surfing the Kananaskis River at the time, and there was a kayak group there, the Alberta Whitewater Association, and they were building features on the Kananaskis River. The AWA has been doing excellent work down in the river for many, many years, and much more experience with building features down there. But in 2012 or somewhere around there, we had a construction year. I think it was earlier. Yeah, it was actually much earlier. And the construction, for whatever reason, sometimes with the more traditional style of setting in rocks where you think it's going to make a wave and crossing your fingers and hoping for the best, didn't work out that year. So there was a number of years in the Kananaskis where we didn't have a surf wave. So our fundraising efforts and wave building efforts were kicked into high gear, as the only waves left to surf were high water waves that, you know, we could drive up on weekends for a few weekends in the spring, but we didn't have waves at home. So our fundraising efforts started from there. Core member pledges was a funding drive that we did that I think is a really great start for river surfing communities that are a little bit smaller in size. just starting to get their beginning and don't really know what's going on yet. The really nice thing about just this core funding drive is it can raise quite a bit of money just in the core community that is set towards a very specific goal. And how it works is there was maybe 10 to 15 of us at the time, and we each set ourselves a personal goal of trying to raise $600 just on our own. And this wasn't a fundraising effort that was geared directly towards a surf event or a surf competition or anything like that, but it was because it was a personal funding drive to put towards a project. Like all the surfers, like myself personally, I can speak from my experience. I went to a lot of my friends and family and just asked them to make small donations. Usually $20 to $50, something like that. And when you look at raising $600 and you're taking $50 at a time, it adds up quite fast. And it's amazing just through friends and family, just giving small amounts, how much we were able to raise. Altogether, with our core community at the time, we were able to raise $8,000. And that at the time, going from $0 in the bank account to $8,000 in, I think I have it here. Let's switch back to the slides. So this is an example. The slide you're looking at right now has an example of, we actually changed each other's Facebook cover photos. Back then, Facebook was really, really active before Instagram was around or anything like that. So we all kind of made this campaign and set up our Facebook cover photo to show the Surf Anywhere project that was going on at the time. And I'm trying to remember now, I think when I said on it, we actually gave a fundraising period, but it was short. I think maybe 2 weeks. But we set ourselves a goal and set ourselves a timeline. And in just that short amount of time, we were able to raise $8,000 around there. So the one thing I will mention with this, it's in the slides here as a point of caution, is you can really only do this once. When you're doing any kind of fundraising, especially in the beginning, you end up targeting just kind of your friends and family, and it's sort of this same social circle. So if you're looking at 10 to 15 surfers or like really stoked, passionate surfers who want to build a surf wave in an area, that times their social circle, which maybe 100 people around them, you're only looking at a bubble of people that could be in a possible population in your area. And if you keep asking those same people again and again and again, hey, please donate to our cause, donate to our cause, it starts to lose its luster. But the first time that you run it through, if that passion comes through, if that stoke comes through, then a lot of those family and friends that you have are really excited to help you out, especially if it's only $20, $50. This is something that you can spend, at a Friday night at a bar, or just, if you look at how many Starbucks coffees that you get in a month, like it's not that big of a cost for people to kind of add their funds to the pot. Now, with getting your bank account up to $8,000, there's a few different ways that you can go in this direction for this. So you can use that towards kind of funding certain things. It's nice to have funding in the bank account for things like costs to register the society or anything like that. But when we're looking specific at a wave building project, one of the biggest costs, if you look at a project life cycle of what is required for a wave to go into a river from start to finish, one of the milestones on there is a feasibility study. And prices on feasibility studies vary. If you are interested in learning more about it, again, reach out to me specifically after you're watching this video. But it's in that ballpark of 8,000 and up and those kinds of things. And what that does, what a feasibility study offers you is it's a full sort of plan for how the wave's going to go in, how many surf days you'll get in a year, what the wave quality can be like. There's a lot of calculation and analysis that goes into it. It looks at the drop and flow of the river, where in that river it could be, just based purely on the physics of the river, but then also regarding access, everything that goes into a wave building project. It's an excellent report. It's very robust, and this is the report that you would need to be able to go to a city, a municipality, or a state government or provincial-wide government, to be able to take a design in and say, this is what we're looking to build. So it's a critical step. It's an expensive step for, especially when you're looking at 10, 15 people trying to put this thing together. But this core member pledges hopefully can get you started on it. Okay, so moving on from core member pledges, let's see here. Our next slide would be the wave raiser. So if you guys have or haven't seen this yet, the Alberta River Surfing Association started a fundraiser, and I remember, the name coming up. I'm pretty sure it was Jason McQuaid said, yeah, let's call it a wave raiser. It's just kind of a catchy name. This is not really owned by us. We encourage you guys, if you're throwing a fundraiser to build a wave, please, by all means, use the word wave raiser. And after the first one was completed, we had, it was a very big success for us. And I put an article together and published that in River Break. So if you're on River Break magazine, you can check it out. Just search for wave raiser or fundraising, and it'll come up, and it kind of gives a breakdown of what we did that year. There are a few things that we've learned since that first year that have gone into future planning, but the main recipe is there. The highlight of the wave raiser is really is the ability to involve corporate sponsorship and or company sponsorship. So a nice thing here is that the surf industry is already very well established. They've been around, selling board shorts and t-shirts and surfboards for, since the 60s. So there's a good strong base there, and there's likely surf industry in your area, because surfing has become this lifestyle branding that far exceeds just living on the beach, living on the coast, that even small towns in landlocked, like Calgary, Alberta, landlocked away from the ocean, we still have in the mall a number of surf brands that are still selling to the landlocked market. So Quicksilver, Billabong, Rip Curl, reach out to those guys. They've been really good with us. But we also try and reach out to a lot of independent small shop owners, local shop owners. These are people who might have a camping brand or just starting out doing massage or something like that. And these people are really great because we can expose them to a larger audience and get their name out there. So how that works is through them donating items for either prizing or raffling. Raffle is a really, really great component of the wave raiser. It's as simple as putting out a few tables, having someone being able to contact all those different brands and asking them if they can donate some prizing towards the raffle, displaying on the table, and then putting jars out that are linked to each product, selling raffle tickets, and then the person will grab a raffle ticket and put it into the jar of the prize that they're trying to win. So one of those things that we learned over time was it's really great, instead of having, companies are very generous. You'll get lots of prizing as soon as you start asking and reaching. Give yourself a good chunk of time, about 6 weeks in advance or 8 weeks in advance, start reaching out. Build a nice website where you can showcase them, give them shout outs on social media, make sure you're treating them with the same mutual respect and helping them out as much as they're helping you out. And then instead of having the 100 items and having to pull a raffle prize and call someone up every 5 minutes, it's really good to start piecing those pieces together and keep it to 30 prizes or under, and then figure out a timeline for your schedule for your raffle, use a whiteboard on the location, and then just write down the raffle prize numbers on the whiteboard. Then it doesn't interrupt the flow of the celebrations of the party or the event that's going on. People can just circle by when they go to grab another beer, and they can circle by and see if they've won any raffle prizes. This does take some volunteer support. So at this time, to be able to put on a wave raiser, you should look to be having, a solid base in your nonprofit, your association or club. 4 or 5 board members there who can look after some communications, look after some money stuff. You've kind of got some organization there. And then beyond that, there should be, around 20 to 30 core surfers, people who are really dedicated, who are interested in the wave building project, can help you out with that. So at that size, you can still throw an event that's really successful with bringing in 100 to 150 people. So 30 people, everybody. The nice thing about surfing is what brings the people together for a wave build project is typically not these people all grew up together. They come from diverse backgrounds, and they all have their own social circles that are outside of surfing. So if you throw a party and they all bring their friends, and he brings his friends and she brings her friends, you end up with a nice big group of people. 100 to 150 people is a good number to shoot for. So when you're booking a hall or a venue, start looking into sort of that number. If you're at that time where you can bring in, start organizing for something like that. So as far as venue rental, and when looking into that, another great source of revenue for you guys, if you can, is by licensing the event and selling alcohol. Our raffle brings in a lot of cash, but for better or for worse, the beer sales actually usually brings in more. The difference is people walk away with a hangover from the beer, and they walk away with really cool prizing that they keep in their life and get a lot of use out of with the raffle. So it's good to have both. So when doing the alcohol, definitely shop around and see if you can have some breweries or local breweries or anybody that is willing to donate or give you discounts. And a good thing to do would be to build a relationship with someone who believes in the goal of the wave building and can help you from start to finish. It's not the best move to kind of flip-flop or try and find the best deal and move around. It's much better to build a relationship with someone who works for a brewery who's believes in the goal and believes in what you guys are doing and can work on that with you guys. There's liquor reps in that out there as well, but in our experience, kind of the breweries are the ones who are able to help a little bit more, but that's up to you guys. Get out there and just make sure you speak with a lot of passion and really illustrate this vision for the future of what can come. So another component that we try and introduce into the wave raiser is art. To be either selling art pieces or having live art there, or just having a little bit more culture. This just gives the event some heart and soul. So it's not just a beer drinking event. This goes for the musicians as well. The biggest thing you want to do is create this celebration, and what everybody there is there to do is celebrate the idea of being able to surf away from the coast. That's an incredible thing. That's new and exciting, and it's still really, really special that we can be surfing this far from the coast. So when you have a wave raiser and you put that event on, once a year, whether you do it annually or just a one-off, everybody that's coming out is there to celebrate. And so get some music that's really upbeat and it's gonna keep the beer flowing and everybody happy. And then the last piece there is that so we've done 3 wave raisers now, and the first and the third we actually had a live auctioneer come out and sell some pieces for us. And the difference in between those years when we used an auctioneer, a live auctioneer, and when we didn't is significant. If this is something that you can reach out into your network or in your community and find someone who's able to, that's their profession, is an auctioneer, if they can come out and help you guys out, they really like getting the crowd excited, and you know, they understand that it's a fundraiser as well, and they can really work with you. The kind of the feedback or experience that our auctioneer gave to us was that instead of just having pieces donated, like if someone can donate a surfboard, that's great, but what you're looking for to be able to go into a live auction as opposed to, say, a silent auction or a raffle is something that's one of a kind, and you can't just go buy somewhere else. No one else in the world has this. Or put together an experience. So package things together. Like, you guys love surfing. Like, if you can, you know, work with someone who does surf camps or something like that, just add on to it and start piling things up until you have this. When they do go and donate, say, $1,000 or $2,000, what they receive in return is like this incredible event, this experience that they get to have that possibly no one else is having. You know, so you can find somebody who does helicopter tours, and you find like a professional chef, and you could try and get discounts from this guy and donations from this guy, but put it all together in a package instead of all these little pieces that are, you know, strung out on a raffle table. Put something together that's really monumental. Yeah, so those are our main kind of revenue streams that happen in a wave raiser, and all those things kind of each has a little component to either improve the experience at the event itself. If the event is memorable, people will tell their friends about it, and hopefully you can have some growth if you need to throw another wave raiser, or if you're making this an annual until you do achieve your goals. Yeah, so it's either improving the experience, or it is just something that has a direct return for you guys. So what else can I talk about the wave raiser? It's important to make sure you have that beach vibe, especially if you're in the city. If you're putting on a party, you know, if you can bring in surfboards, do some decorations to the area, that really helps. When we were talking about booking venues, it is possible to go with a bar who's you know, just booking a bar. I know it sounds easier, but consider that the idea of selling your own liquor, or your own alcohol. So when you are booking a hall, there is more work, like decorations and things like that. It might be less work to book a bar. But to give you an idea, like some of our wave raisers, we've raised, you know, $3,000 or $4,000 just from the beer sales. So when you're looking at rental rates and things like that, something to consider. But yeah, if you have any specific questions on wave raiser, be sure to reach out to me again. And otherwise, I'll just move on. The next one we have on the list is crowdfunding. So crowdfunding, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this through the popular website Kickstarter, and now there's other ones like Indiegogo. These projects are really cool, and it's really appealing for surfers who are looking at projects when you're looking at other successful Kickstarter campaigns that have launched and raised a ton of money, and you know, you see these board games or whatever it is going for $1 million, and they're, oh, it's so easy. You just, you know, set up a Kickstarter campaign and everybody's going to sign up, and it's going to be amazing. So with waves, I can speak from personal experience that this isn't something that you don't. It just may sound simpler than it is, and I just want to just give you a word of caution and just try and shed some light on crowdfunding for wave building, and just hope that you can avoid some pitfalls. So as I've got in the slides here, suggestions for success. It's a full-time job. Make sure when you do, if you are launching a crowdfunding campaign, that you have somebody on this all the time. It's not a set it and forget it. Once you launch, the money's not just going to come in on its own. A good thing to do with that is a communications plan. So day by day, week by week, you have goals and pre-made content. There's lots of content on the web. If you're not surfing a wave in your town currently, like go on the internet, grab some photos of river surfing and some videos, and then use that in your campaign. And you've got to really drive that stoke and drive an audience and drive people to your crowdfunding page. You want people passing on that link and everything else. The other suggestion for success is set an achievable goal. So I've got here less than $10,000. That's just through our own experience. The key here is that even you can try to reach $1 million with your crowdfunding campaign. That would be incredible, but still setting an achievable goal helps you in the long run. With crowdfunding, like Kickstarter specifically, if you don't reach your goal, then it doesn't get funded at all. So that's something to keep in mind. But it's also, people get more excited after you do exceed your goal, or like when you're getting close to touching your goal. So setting an achievable goal can help you with that. Another one here is create product-based backer rewards. Instead of saying, yeah, you'll get to surf here, it'd be much better to say, hey, we've got a surf shirt and a koozie for you, $20, and you actually get a product in exchange for the crowdfunding. And again, go back to number one, it's a full-time job. You're going to have to make sure that somebody's on this. If you're promising t-shirts, there is some work involved in setting that up. Another suggestion for success is just to research other successful campaigns. Make sure you're looking out there to see what other people are doing and the difference. There's lots of information on Google now because Kickstarter is taking off. Just make sure you're well researched before you actually hit launch, and have promotions in place. So this goes back to your communications plan, but just make sure that as soon as this thing launches, you're continuing to get the hype up and get everybody excited about it. So yeah, when it does come to crowdfunding, my biggest caution is that I see a lot of success in crowdfunding a product that doesn't exist, like a cooler with a speaker in it or whatever. When you have an invention and you're guaranteeing people get to own this thing, you might be more likely to be having people paying for that. It's commerce that we're used to, but paying for services that don't exist yet, there's more of a hesitation to do that. So if anybody is like looking at crowdfunding campaigns and things like that, I definitely suggest getting out there, getting online, getting on social media and talking to people ahead of time and saying, just run some surveys. Hey, if we released this project and had some t-shirts, would you contribute? Get a good sense of what your goals are and what's achievable before you begin. What else do I have in my slides here? Yeah, so again, if you're tuning in, these slides are available. Hit me up personally or check it out. It's in the comments below. I've just got it saved to a Google Drive there. The next slide is just all about river surfing associations and getting established. So I mentioned this before. Listed here are some of the key positions that you'll need, like a president, treasurer, and secretary. Check those out. Make sure you got someone who can do communications and reach out to people if you are specifically doing events. And then grants is another great way for raising funds. There's lots of grants that have been available to us at the Alberta River Surfing Association where we've applied for through different organizations. So either through environment or recreation or even culture, we've received some funding for that. When you're looking at grants, it's good to have someone on your team who can just focus purely on that and to just be able to write grant proposals and things like this. It's no simple task. Make sure you get out there and do all your research, talk to people, talk to local, the Chamber of Commerce, and go down to your city and ask them if there's funding available, and just like really dig hard on those. To give you an idea of how the mountain wave was built in the Kananaskis River here in Alberta, it would be impossible to pull that off without grant funding. Our fundraising efforts, money that's come straight from the surf community and bringing our friends out to these events and parties, it's only been about 1/3, and grants have filled that other 2/3 of the funds raised. What's really great is some of the grants in Alberta are matching grants. So how it works is you apply and you put dollars up and they match the dollars, but it's nice too because you can put up volunteer time and they put a value to that and say, you know, a non-specialized labor, they just give it like a minimum wage and then they'll match that in dollars. One of our most successful campaigns after we raised the $8,000 from our core member pledges, we began working on a structure that was going to go into the river. And a lot of that volunteer time and labor and the cost of materials, everything that went into that was then matched with flood relief. And that was really what allowed the mountain wave to happen. So sometimes you start the work and you don't really know if it's going to work out or if it's going to work out the way you want, but it's always good to be moving forward and working on something. You know, if you're always putting your one foot after the next and getting closer to your goals. And then just know it's not wasted time. It's not wasted effort because these matching grants do exist and are available. So if you're tracking that and recording it and documenting it, there's some opportunities in there for you. Yeah, and that's basically all I have for what we're looking at with these slides here. Yeah, there's the conclusion. The biggest kind of thing that I can suggest for you guys, anybody who's looking at fundraising, is if you're in a place where you want to build a wave, you got some motivated people around you and you're ready to start fundraising, make connections. The river surfing community is very small. There's, you know, people make friends easy because we're united by this crazy awesome thing, this ability to build waves. You know, everybody's hungry for it. So just jump on Facebook and Instagram, start making connections, start talking to people, because we're all kind of in this together. We're all kind of at the same place where some wave projects have gone through and now there's enough experience to talk to people and say, how did you get that done? You know, reach out to the people in Boise and Bend, you know, what's going on there. Reach out to us up in the Alberta River Surfing Association. We'll help where we can. And yeah, and if you are at the point where you do want to get a river surf wave, please, you know, talk to Surf Anywhere. Hit me up, and we've got some intake questions and stuff that we can go through. We can actually look at your river specifically. We ask for some links to flow data and stuff, and Neil can punch it into his big calculation machine and figure out if you guys, how many surf days a year you could have there and all the rest of it. Some really good information there. And I also just want to throw it out there. So on the Slam Festival page, that's where this link is. But let's get a dialogue going. If other people know of other ways of fundraising, or if there's anything I missed, I'd love for you guys to chime in, and we can take it from there. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And yeah, we've got some more Slam Summit Festival, or Slam Festival, Slam Summit. That's today's event for the day. We've got more interviews tonight, Mountain Standard Time here, but at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time this evening, we're going to be down at one of our sponsored locations, National on 10th. We're going to set up the camera there and go through 4 or so interviews there. So you can come by, have a beer, or tune in online. Just check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/slam.festival, and right there you'll be able to see the videos as they come in. We're going to run them every 30 minutes, so you can tune in there. Thanks so much, and good luck out there building all your waves. And yeah, I hope to surf a wave in your community pretty soon here. See ya.